Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of SoTellUs Time. We are super excited as always to be here with you guys today. It's gonna be a phenomenal one. I'm actually really excited about this. We named this one CEO Day, 1 day strategy for explosive growth. And what we're talking about here today is how you can take the time or dedicate the time that you need in order to actually get things done that makes sense for the business, because your job as the CEO or the owner or the owner operator, whatever it is that you are in your business and where that position holds, it's really important for you to be able to take time to work on the business instead of in the business. And that's exactly what we're talking about today, having explosive growth by dedicating time to work on the business and not in the business. In fact, Troy and I, we said 2025 is going to be all about dedicating time to work on the business because that's our job. We are here to make sure that the company is growing, to make sure that, we've got new things coming in, staying up to date, systems and processes are where they should be at, all of those types of things where the marketing's where it's at, being able to take the time to dedicate our day in order to work on the business. That actually is going to help with exponential growth, because when you're working in the business, that's awesome, but that is literally going to help you that day, basically. Whereas working on the business is going to help the future of your company. And Troy and I realized that we get sucked in. I mean, we've got 25 employees now, and we're getting sucked in on a daily basis to working in the business and accomplishing daily tasks that only had to do with that day. Now, the problem with that is who's then working on the business to grow it, right? So Troy and I, we decided in 2025, this is what we're going to do. And we did that. We dedicated a day that we're working on the business. And so we recently just did this for our sales guys. We took an event that we had been to. We took a day, we created a campaign with text messages and emails. And this is an automated campaign that's going to run for the next 12 months and then start over, actually, which is awesome. And we're going to maximize. We decide, hey, we went to this event. We've got this wonderful list. We got these people who are really interested. So we want to, get in front of those people and stay in front of those people. And so we needed to just take the time to build this campaign that's going to pay off and continue to pay over time as well. But here's the crazy part is the immediate result of taking this day that Troy and I took a whole day dedicated to just working on this campaign, which some people might think, wow, that's a lot of work for just one thing to put into one thing. But we actually had, from that 1 day's worth of work, we had the next day, we had our largest day in 2025 of sales, our largest single day of sales. Our sales reps got so busy and had so many appointments and they closed so many sales. It was actually our largest day of sales in this year, which is phenomenal. And that was just from the get-go. Now, remember, I just told you this campaign that we spent a day building is going to communicate with these people for the next 12 months. And, there's a lot behind it. There's a lot that goes behind marketing and everything. We're not just bombarding these people and whatever. There's timing involved and education, things like that. But that's why it took a whole day. But by us doing that, it's going to continue to feed us and our sales guys for the next 12 months. And then it's going to start over again. It's going to, how we look at it is it's going to maximize our conversion and sales from this event that we went to. But the immediate result was that we had our largest day of sales in 2025 so far, which just made everybody excited, right? So that's what we're talking about. The power of giving yourself the time to work on the business versus in the business. All right. They don't want to hear anything more from me, Troy. They come here to be educated by you. I can entertain, you get to educate. What a great duo. All right, jump in.
All right. So first, we're just going to talk real quick about why you need a CEO day. Trevor gave it a great example of how just 1 day's work in our business made a huge difference. So, you really need to think about this, and one of the biggest things is the cost of constant busy work, right? When you're only reacting to tasks, right? You're just whatever's in front of me, that's what I'm going to work on. You lose sight of the strategy of your business, right? You lose sight of the end goal of where you want to be and what you need to get done to really grow the business, because you're only focused on what's right in front of your face. And what that does is growth slows, decisions get delayed, and basically burnout builds, right? You get burned out from like just constantly, you feel like you're just constantly dealing with, customer issues or product issues or whatever it might be. And you get burned out because you're not focused on the long term in the business. You're focused on what's right in front of you. Now, the other thing is the power of scheduled strategic time. And this is really, really important. A CEO day creates margin for you to plan, reflect, innovate, and lead intentionally in the business. So when you actually schedule this time out, you're going to have the time and ability to really focus on what's important. And it's going to give space for high-level thinking and big picture decisions, not just decisions that are focused on what's happening in today, in the 8 hours of, work today. The other thing too is common objectives and why they don't hold up. Here's the thing. A lot of times we hear this all the time with business owners. We're like, okay, well, why don't you have a CEO day scheduled out? And the answer is, oh, I don't have time. I'm too busy. And that's exactly why you need a CEO day.
And when they say that, I always laugh and I say, okay, great. So my immediate response is, oh, okay, so you have all the money that you need and you have all the jobs that you need. Like you're full, you're done. You don't need anything more. In fact, you can't handle anymore. And they're like, well, no. Oh, okay. Well, I assumed that. I assumed you needed more because you're here talking to us. But it's like, whoa, but I don't have time for that. It's like, okay, so you don't have time to make more money. Gotcha. Cool.
Exactly. The other big one that we hear is my team can't handle things without me. Right? If I'm not there, if I'm not helping, then things are going to fall apart. My team can't they can't do it. I got to be there. I got to be micromanaging and on top of them, making it happen. And really,
if you've built a dependency team, that's what I call it, a dependency team, then you will never grow as large as you want to. You will never be able to handle the type of business that you most likely want to, right? Because everything has to go through you. You become the bottleneck of the company, and it really hurts your company.
Exactly. You've created a job, not a business, right? Mm-hmm. Because you have to be there, doing the job. Otherwise, it doesn't work, right? And really, that's a delegation issue. If you're in that situation, and we've all been in that situation, we've had that plenty of times where I'm like, man, I can't even step away for a day. I got to keep the team going. But that's a delegation issue. That means that, I'm not delegating correctly, or maybe I don't have the right team members in place that can handle what I need to do. And we have past episodes where we've talked about that. So definitely go back and listen to those episodes as well. Another one we get a lot is, I don't know what to do on a CEO day. Like I have no idea what I would actually do that day. Man. So we're going to give you some suggestions on what you need to do on a CEO day. Okay. So number one, big picture planning, right? You need to plan ahead for the business. So this means setting or reviewing your monthly and quarterly goals. Mm-hmm. That's a big one. Hopefully you have monthly and quarterly goals in place. If you do not have them in place, then that is one of the first things you can do on your CEO day is, come up with those monthly and quarterly goals. You can evaluate your metrics, your KPIs, and your progress. This is a time for you as a leader to sit down and look at, where the ship was, where it is now, and where is it going? Are you on track? Are you not on track? Another big thing that you can do on CEO day is system building, right? So Trevor talked about identifying bottlenecks, inefficiencies in your system, right? This is where you can work on SOPs, automation, and delegation improvements. I was actually just on one of our most recent CEO days. I was working on our SOPs. I was looking at our systems and what we have in place. And I was like, you know what? There's some miscommunication, some misunderstanding between team members. So I sat down and I started working on our document and, our SOPs and saying, okay, look, at this point, this is who does this. And at this point, this person does this. And I made it very clear so that we can, be more efficient when it comes to our workflow. Another big thing is marketing and growth strategies. Review your campaign performances, brainstorm content that you're going to put out there, or plan upcoming promotions. Trevor shared the story of what we just did with one of our events. And I want, and just to give you a little more insight into that, we go to these events, we're speakers at these events, and we generate a lot of leads coming back to our sales team, and we have our sales team following up on those. But that follow-up only goes for a little while, right? And then the sales team gets the next leads from the next event, and then they start focusing on those. And we realized, man, we've got these great leads that, they get focused on a little bit and then they get left behind. And that's not maximizing the, time, energy, effort, and revenue that we put into that event. Right. So, that's a great thing to do, is reviewing those campaigns, building marketing campaigns, planning your upcoming promotions. I can't tell you how many times we see businesses that we're like, okay, what's your next promotion? They're like, I got nothing, or it's, Black Friday is 2 days away and they're like, oh, shoot, we got to do something for Black Friday. And it's like, no, you should have been planning that way in advance. And that's what these CEO days are for. Right. Another thing is, look at lead generation and your customer journey touch points. That is so important. How are you generating your leads? And then how are you taking care of your new customers? Are they having a great journey with you? That's another podcast we did where we talked about the customer journey and how to make it, exceptional for your customers. So go back and check out that one as well. Another thing that you can do on your CEO day is team development, right? Review your team performance, check in on culture, check in on morale, see how the team is doing, and then make adjustments. Is everything going really, really smooth with that team, or do you need to, kick some butts and get people focused, right? Plan upcoming hires, team reviews, and then even trainings. Maybe you need to have additional training. Again, on my last CEO day, I set a meeting for one of our teams of like, hey, look, we're having a training meeting where we're going to go through our SOPs. We're going to go through and make sure that everyone understands their role and responsibility in this project. So that's a great time for you to review and then set those meetings. Now, you're not going to set that meeting during your CEO day, right? You're going to plan that meeting, prepare for that meeting on another day so that, you stay focused on your CEO day and what you need to do. And then the final thing is, make CEO level decisions, right? Making decisions that move the business forward, whether that is new offers, pricing changes, partnerships that you need to start working on and building those relationships. Those are those decisions that you're going to make on your CEO day. And big tip here, don't try to do everything every week, right? Rotate through your focus areas. Sometimes you just got to focus on one thing and get it done. Like Trevor said, we focused on one marketing campaign. We knocked it out of the park, and we're seeing tremendous results from that one day that we were focused, right? So it was great to be focused on one thing.
That's right. And I would say that when Troy says we knocked it out of the park, one caveat to that is he does not mean it was perfect. He does not mean that we were like, oh my gosh, that's the best. That's the absolute best campaign we've ever built in our lives. Now, we're pretty good at what we do. I definitely believe that. I know that. But the key is perfection is the enemy of profits. And we say that all the time. We repeat it to our clients all the time. We understand that if you are looking for perfection, you will never get the project out the door. And so you will never make the profit. And so, no, we built it. And at the end of the day, I probably wanted to change a few more hundred things about it, to be honest. That's okay. I said, nope, I'm going to launch it and I'm going to walk away. The next day, our guys were so bombarded. They had a huge day of sales. It was awesome. And it's continued because, again, it's a campaign. So it's continued to bring more and more sales in every single day. And that was not a perfect, like I said, a billion things I would have changed probably. Going back today now, like a week later, it was like a week ago that we did this. I would probably change things again, right? Because like now I'm fresh and in a different mindset and whatever. And it's not bad to go back and look, but what I'm telling you is that we launched it, even wanting it to be different, and it still produced. So do not get pigeonholed into the, that old lie that you need perfection to create profit. You will do the exact opposite. You will lose profit because you're looking for perfection.
Yep, exactly. So how do you make CEO Day actually happen? Right? Mm-hmm. These all sound like great things. You're like, oh yeah, I'm excited about this, but how do you actually make it happen? Okay, number one thing, put it on the calendar. Choose a consistent day and block it off. Treat it like it's a non-negotiable meeting. There is no changing, the time of that meeting, that day. That is the day, and you are going to do it. Now, right now, you may be really, really busy, and you're like, I can only, I can't do a CEO Day every week, right? But maybe it's every 2 weeks. Maybe it's once a month, if that's all you can do right now. But pick the day, set it, block it off so that nothing else can get in the way. And then number two is prep your team. Communicate that you are going to be unavailable for regular tasks that day. Make sure that they understand that, you're unavailable, that you are focused, and that this is not a play day for you. This is a very important day for you to help grow the business. And I'll tell you what, like what Trevor talked about with us, right? Our sales team, when we do a day like that, they're not going to bother us because they saw the result of what came out of us taking that time to do the work, right? And they're going to be like, no, take as many CEO days as you want because we reap the benefits in the sales side of it, So making sure that they understand the importance of it and that you're unavailable during that time. And then the next thing is empower your team to handle decisions or be able to delay non-urgent issues. So they need to either feel empowered that they can take care of it and make the decision. And if it's something they can't make a decision on, how do we delay this, right? So that they can talk to you tomorrow about it, right? Teach them how to take care, those tactics to, delay those non-urgent issues. Now, if it's an urgent issue, that's different, right? But if it's a non-urgent issue, how do they handle it and delay it until they can, you can meet with them on it. And then the final thing is eliminate distractions. So turn off the notifications. That's a really big one. If you're constantly in your emails, answering emails, taking care of clients through email, don't look at your emails during that time. Put your phone on do not disturb. And do it that way. Change your environment. This is a big one. A lot of times, Trevor and I, we will, on these days, we'll go off site. We won't come into the office and work, in the office. Or if we do need to be in the office, a lot of times what we do is we'll move into the conference room and we'll just take up the conference room for the whole day. And the team knows, right? They know we're having that day, but also now we're in a different place. They go to walk in our office and they're like, oh, shoot. Oh yeah, that's right. It's a CEO day, right? Yeah. They go and they take care of the issue. So changing your environment is really good. And then having an agenda of what you're going to accomplish that day, and scheduling it out, like, from 8 until 10 a.m., this is what I'm going to focus on. From 10 until noon, this is what I'm going to focus on. So having that schedule to make sure that you stay on track and you don't get distracted. Again, we talked about going off site. And a lot of times, not just going offsite is not just about not giving your team members access to you, but sometimes being in a different setting can actually lead to clearer thinking and opening your mind up to, some other options that you may not have thought about. One of my favorite things to do is we have a place that's up in the mountains, and I like to go up there for, a day or two. I'm still working. I'm working on the business, but just being in a different setting kind of opens up my mind to think about other parts of the business. And I've had some really great ideas that have happened while up there outside of my normal work environment. So anything you want to add, Trevor, before we kind of get to the conclusion?
The last thing I would say is this works so well. It really, truly does. It has already transformed our business. And remember, we've been in business for 25 years. And so being in business this long, you do go through transformations over time. And so we've had several iterations, of our business. And one of the best things that I can tell you that we've done even in the past years, we've done a lot of different things, but this year, dedicating time where Troy and I said, no, we have to work on the business because there are systems and processes that need to be redone, that need to be revamped, that need to be rethought. There are there's things that I feel like we were kind of, letting fall to the wayside that I feel like, no, those are important. And so did Troy. And we were like, we can't do this. We need to do better. So we actually dedicated this year, we dedicated 3 days a week. Troy and I have blocked our calendars off. 3 days a week is for on the business. And I can tell you, huge transformations. And we, as you guys already know, we've got thousands of clients in 33 countries around the world. And it is phenomenal. I am so excited about the changes we are already seeing, the changes our clients are seeing. It's huge. And so dedicating those 3 days a week, it was tough because at first Troy and I were like, oh man, how are we going to take that much time away from what we were doing before? But since doing that, just in the first and second quarter, as we're here in the second quarter, of the year, it's crushing it for us. It's absolutely crushing it. And we have had huge gains. We have had huge, so for instance, one of the things we focused on was retention. Right? Everybody has attrition. You don't keep clients forever because eventually clients even die, right? But we wanted to improve our attrition rate. And so we focused on that. And oh my gosh, I'll tell you that we cut that in half. It's not like we had a huge attrition rate, but we literally cut it in half. And by doing that and spending the time on it, we actually created other plans and packages for clients that fit our clientele even better. And now we're even, more, I would say, inclusive for our clientele because there's even more for everybody, right? So phenomenal changes that we've seen. 3 days a week for us was a must. We're 25 years into it. We got 25 employees. If they can't, work on their own, I wouldn't have the right people in place. But we've spent all these years getting the right people, and we do have the right people in place. And our customers are better for it. They're better for us working 3 days a week on the business. They're experiencing massive and amazing changes. And it's working. Everything is working really well for our company as well as for our clients' companies. So I'm really just excited about it. And I think that if you guys will dedicate this time, you will see major changes because I always say the changes we make today, the things we implement today are going to affect us 6, 8 months, 2 years from now. You have to make the change today in order to make the future better. Okay. And so let's just kind of recap. A CEO day really helps lead your business with intention versus just keeping it running. Because a lot of times I feel like a lot of people's businesses, when I step in the door of it, it's on autopilot and it's not really growing. Maybe it's not really dying, but it's not, it's kind of just sitting steady and nothing has really changed. And that's kind of crazy. Because for us, if you've been in business as long as we have, you should have had a lot of changes over the years. You should have evolved because a lot of things have changed over the years. So my final thought would be, if you even start with a half a day, dedicating half a day once a week, or maybe you can only dedicate time every other week, at least twice a month, you're working on the business and it's fully dedicated to that. That's something. That's getting started. So I would highly recommend that. And then obviously, as you guys know, your homework for this week is pick a time. Block off that time. Make yourself unavailable to the employees, to the clients, and make that your CEO half a day, 3 hours, or full day, or like Troy and I, 3 days. And, eventually, to be honest, my goal is 5 days a week. Troy and I are dedicated to just on the business because our employees are so phenomenal at it that they're working in the business for us. And everything will be better when Troy and I can even do that. So that's really exciting. Even more growth, even more improvements will happen as we continue to implement this further and further. So, all right, guys. Well, we love you. We appreciate you. And we will check you guys out on the next episode of SoTellUs Time.